Okay, welcome to KBLP and Fear the Walking Dead. We're going to talk about this week's episode 3, called Good Out Here. Or as lately I've seen, and we like to talk, we said, what the hell, Fear? Come on. Seriously. Everybody was like, what? What? Because of what had happened. If you have not seen it, be prepared for spoilers. So, yeah, this is also known as What the Hell, Fear. So, it's kind of crazy. We'll do a little background a little bit here. Nick Clark. He kind of entered this new world. He was an addict, okay? And he started with drugs, and every time his parents tried to wean him off, of course, he'd fall down the familiar rabbit hole, okay? And when the outbreak hit, his crutch of choice wasn't readily available. So he found a new addiction. People became his crutch, and then the killing. He traded addiction for addiction. He never really came to terms with the why of it all, right? And faced with Morgan, he's another man in recovery, so to speak. He found a sponsor, someone who's been through it all and willing to help fight the unrelenting inner demons. But that's the tragedy of Nick Clark. And after all this time, and slipping back toward the edge so many times, he finally fell over. So, this episode was not quite as abrupt as last season when Travis, he also fought against the rage within himself, was shot out of the sky. Yeah, remember that? Yeah. Nick was, of course, unexpectedly taken from us by little, not so innocent anymore, Charlie. It doesn't mean he's gone for good, since season 4 jumps between the past and the present. We got that time jump in there. But the life leached from his eyes by the time the credits rolled, leaving Alicia without a brother, Luciana without a lover, and Morgan with another lost soul that he attempted to guide. So how's this going to affect Morgan, too? You know how he is. He loses people. So he doesn't even want to be around people. And in the beginning, Nick is forced to chop down and burn his own crops because of the weevil infestation. And how the weevil survived through all this, I'll never know. But okay. He refused to go outside the stadium wall for fear of becoming someone he doesn't want to be. And as he explains later on, his one contribution to the community is now smoke and ash. These memories cloud his present as he stares out the window of the SWAT van his group stole from Al, of course, who's trying to get him to talk about his story. Victor can't seem to find their destination on the map. Way to go, Victor. Anyway, and Al admits she left out some necessary information. Well, I think we kind of knew that. She'll tell them where they want to go. But first, of course, they have to sit in front of her camera, and they need to tell their story. Of course, Nick, he tries to intimidate. He's not a very intimidating person, okay? He attempts to intimidate, but Al is able to get the better of him, of course. She slipped out of her bindings and managed to take Nick hostage at knife point. And Al tells everyone to put down their weapons and Luciana to pull over the car. But walkers are lurking, of course, further down the road. A scuffle ensues as Nick knocks Al back, and the commotion caused Luciana to pull over the car, of course. But Walker, she loses control of the wheel, of course. The van goes over the side of the road and crashes into a ditch. Not real prepared for this, were they? I don't think. But Nick is kind of semi-conscious. He's going in and out. He sees flashes of Al, Morgan, and John scooping up all the weapons and carrying the others out of the vehicle. Unconscious, he recalls a memory of Madison coming to check on him after the crop burning. She said she's going on a food run, and Nick wants to come with her to help, of course. And when he wakes up, he and the others are tied up, and Al, Morgan, and John are trying to get the van unstuck. And naturally, it needs a tow. Who are you going to call? Interesting. But anyway, who are you going to call for a tow, right? Al says they're all going to work together to get one. Okay. They have little options, and Luciana mentioned she spotted the garage a ways back that had trucks they could use. Okay, Al lets them loose, of course, except for Nick. Naturally, she doesn't trust him. She ties him to the van as insurance. Morgan offers to stay behind because of his injured leg while the others venture out. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. It was kind of surprising, to say the least, okay? Get in the chat. Tell me what you thought of this episode if you watched it, okay? Morgan's reading his pocket-sized The Art of Peace when Nick tries to he tries to talk to him. Morgan remains silent, of course. We all know how Morgan feels. Nick asks, when Morgan remains silent, Nick asks if he can get him a snack. Instead, Morgan cuts his bindings and tells him to get it himself. And because of a knife within Nick's grasp, say that then, within Nick's grasp, Nick asks Morgan if Morgan is afraid. He'll just take the weapons and flee. A few baby taps and then a trip with his staff later, and Nick finds out why Morgan isn't sweating it at all, right? Bing, bang, boom, he is down. An understanding and perhaps maybe a bond begins to form. And they share protein peanut butter bars, and that's sweet. Morgan, he's still not quite with it, which is a good thing, I think. But I just have to say, I love him using his staff. Bing, bang, bomb, boom. That Nick is down, and he's like, okay. Poor Morgan. I feel bad for him. He just wants to be left alone. But he can't, people find him, or he finds people, and he gets involved. So, Morgan goes up the street to perform his exercises. Of course, he does this every day. And he gives Nick the opportunity to search the van. He quickly thumbs through The Art of Peace before picking up Al's camera to listen to Morgan's confession. Morgan, meanwhile, but why Morgan's? Why would he listen to Morgan's? Maybe it's because they have an understanding now. I don't know. But he picks Morgan's confessional, and Morgan, meanwhile, is struggling to handle his staff with his injury. He forgets the pain when he spots a car driving down the road toward them. And it looks familiar. If you pay close attention in the previous episode, and Morgan hurries back down into the ditch and closes himself and Nick in the van. He recognizes this car. He tells Nick to stay down while the car passes. Nick, however, of course, tries to get out as soon as he spots the vehicle, causing a physical struggle with Morgan, who falls back against the van's horn, of course, and the horn is going off. And of course, the blaring sound attracts nearby walkers. But Nick, of course, leaves Morgan behind, even ignoring his request to throw down his staff, and starts running along the road after the car. In the meantime, here we go with the meanwhiles. Meanwhile, the other people have made it. They made it to the garage, and they're filling up containers with gas and getting a massive cable. Victor asks Al why she wants their story so bad. She deflects, noting the scar on Victor's hand he's trying to hide. But she eventually gives an answer. The truth matters, even if it's only heard out loud, even if it's only heard once. Victor and Alicia are still puzzled by Al. I mean, she's kind of an enigma. But Game recognizes Game when Luciana says, She knows her shit, just not the shit about the truth. So there you go. And head back to the Nick chasing the car down. He pauses to observe a patch of bluebonnet flowers, which aren't always a great sign. That Cherokee Rose preceded Carol's discovery of her daughter turned walker on The Walking Dead. And who could forget? Just look at the flowers, of course. So flowers aren't always a good thing to see, right? These ones bring up memories of Nick riding out beyond the stadium with his mom. First, they made a pit stop by Mel in the parking lot, who again taunts him about the slim food pickings and throws back the book Luciano left for Charlie. And, if you notice between The Walking Dead and Fear, the kids are awful. In this one, you have a turncoat kid, Charlie, who, betrays them all. You had Sam in The Walking Dead. You had Lizzie, and now Henry. So these kids in both shows they are just totally not there. I don't get it. These kids are terrible. Kids are not to be trusted in either show, okay? I think we've found that out. Okay, so, and as they drive away, Nick asks how Madison is able to stay so positive. She said she always looks for something good. It's out there. Okay, I don't know if I'd have that sunny, optimistic attitude, but okay, Madison can. These flowers are the something good, and Nick pockets them. However, he's instantly accosted by a couple of walkers. Of course, did you not see these walkers there? How could you not have seen these? But anyway, he's accosted by a few walkers. Morgan, of course, catches up to him in time to save him, and the two agree to find safer ground. They find an old pharmacy, which is two walkers that are easy to take care of, and a good thing because Morgan's wound is starting to bleed again. And Nick asks why he decided to help him, backed by the flowers. And Morgan says he doesn't kill. And we have another flashback, of course. We see Madison and Nick coming across their 9th pit stop on a search for food. All others have been cleaned out, and as they round the corner, they see the vulture from the blue car. The same one Nick had been chasing. Okay? They were carrying out crates of canned goods and supplies. The vulture teases them about how much condensed milk they found as Charlie walks out of the house. She has a walkie she stole from the stadium, of course, which is how the vultures have been able to listen in and get to the food stashes before they did. They try to tell Charlie she doesn't have to go along with the vultures, but the man says he's the one who found her and taught her how to survive. And they're about to leave when the vulture gets one last jab in at Nick for not being able to provide for his family. Shades of The Walking Dead, Shane and Rick, no? Anyway, Nick puts a knife to the man's throat in response. Madison tries to calm him down and talk him down, but he at least draws a little blood, which seems to rattle Charlie a little. So, there's a lot of parallels here in the two shows. The kids, for one. Don't trust any kids in the apocalypse.